Friday, June 10th, 9:42 a.m. Check this out. I need to read y'all something from this book. So, shout out again to a viewer for commenting on my Vendier video. I think I forget what it's called, the anti-Masonic uprising in France or something like that, for recommending this book. This book was kind of not easy to find. I did find it on Amazon, but it was like super expensive. It was like almost $50, I think, for this small book. But it's so good. It's so good. So I want to just read something that I think is going to blow your mind. It blew my mind. Okay, so it was the worst of times, the Estates General. Versailles, I can't say that word, 4th May 1789. As the doors of the Church of Notre Dame swing open, the voice of an organ reaches the expectant crowds. Led by a cross-bearer, the procession comes into view. First to appear are hundreds of men dressed in sober black and small tricorn hats. Next, far more elegant, members of the nobility in black and white satin embroidered with gold, their plumed headgear stirring in the breeze. Behind them walk a small group of bishops and cardinals, resplendent in violet and purple, followed by two long files of cassocked priests. Each carries a candle in his right hand. Then, beneath a cloth of gold canopy, the Archbishop of Paris bears the Blessed Sacrament in a monstrance flashing like the sun. Immediately after him steps the king, wearing his great coronation mantle of blue, adorned with golden flowers de lis. He is attended by the queen, the princes and princesses of the blood, and senior officers of the orders of chivalry. That slow cortege takes more than an hour to reach its destination, the Church of St. Louis. Every building along the route has hung out some piece of gorgeous tapestry, and the pavements are crowded with a throng of people held back by an unbroken line of troops. The three estates of the most Christian realm are on the way to attend a Mass of the Holy Ghost, begging God to enlighten the deliberations of the States General, which are to open the following day. Thus, with the full splendor of the Catholic liturgy, was initiated a train of events which for a time would appear to have obliterated Catholicism from the most Christian realm of France. The starting point of the French Revolution was the convocation of the Estates, in parentheses States, General by King Louis XVI. Wait for it. This is amazing. His reason for doing so was that his treasury had become bankrupt on 16 August 1788 as a result of a financial crisis triggered by France's costly participation in the American Revolution. There it is. Just wait. Jacques Necker, director of the Treasury, had warned that this intervention would bankrupt the country, but his advice was unheeded. Necker, a Swiss-born Protestant financier, was highly competent, incorruptible, and totally loyal to the king. On the far from impartial advice of his philosophy-inspired ministers, Louis sent material and financial aid amounting to $240 million to help the American colonies in their struggle for independence. It was the French fleets in the battalions of Lafayette and Rochambeau, both prominent members of various Masonic lodges, that helped Washington to bottle up Cornwallis in Yorktown, compelling him to surrender and to bring the war to a close. Ready for it? After the defeat of Cornwallis, those French, American, and British officers who were members of Masonic lodges all dined together, despite their having served on opposing sides. Revolutionary ideas already well established in France among the Bourbons swept across the Atlantic into France, brought by the returning French officers like Lafayette, and reinforcing the stronghold which such ideas already had on the ruling elites in the kingdom. Meanwhile, the treasury was crippled by its new, wholly unnecessary war debts. Necker was dismissed in the I don't know how to say this, bourgeois bondholders who stood to gain most from revolution in France clamored for financial control of the government. The king's treasury was in debt to the moneylenders, a situation which certain philosophy-inspired ministers had done their best to foster and encourage for their own ends. The only solution seemed to be the calling of the Estates General. The king hoped that the estates would come to the aid of his bankrupt exchange by raising new taxes, but the circumstances under which they were to meet could hardly have been less propitious. The year of 1788 was marked by merciless acts of God, a severe drought, stunted crops, a hailstorm. So there was also problems associated with food and acts of God. So I just find that so interesting because we see this unholy alliance between a Christian monarchy and the Masonic lodges, leading to the downfall of the most Christian monarch in Europe, all of Christendom, France. There's something to be learned from that. America, the founding of America, has a very direct, even more direct than I initially understood, role in the downfall of Christendom. So, not anti-American, but facts are facts. Joan of Arc Media out.